I shouldn't say this, but I'm going to because it's just so goddamn funny. I figured out how to monetize social justice warriors. Every time I think that, well, it's just one of the surreal circumstances that characterize my life. It's like I'm driving the social justice activists in Canada mad.
It happens to be empirically correct. The first thing you have to do is you have to load the place with police.
If they let me speak, then I get to speak, and then more people support me on Patreon.
You know, I have a different experience from everybody else.
It's like, that's annoying. It's like, goddamn capitalists, he's making more money off this ideological warfare. It's like, okay, fine, let's go protest him.
I don't know there's a religious person alive. I mean, who doesn't eventually go like, okay, it's a little weird.
The story's really interesting, you know, because I think it's such a classic story of an engineer getting tangled up in politics.
I mean, seriously, like that's the only way this is going to work. Because we either have to decide we want to share a country and live together with each other, or we have to decide we don't.
Well, let's say you're a hockey player and you're a good player and you lose the tournament. It's like, well, so what? You played the game. You're increasing your skills.
It's important for people on my side of the aisle, conservatives, to acknowledge and recognize the importance of history in people's living situations now. And it's important for people on the other side of the aisle to, at the same time, not attribute every single thing to history.
Said, here's what's going to happen. And so I laid it out. And then people came out and said, no, you're being paranoid. It's like, that's possible.
Right. There's very little interracial crime, like black on white or white on black in the United States. There's a lot of intraracial crimes, a lot of white people victimizing white people and black people victimizing black people.
So when you tell an engineer that you want feedback, the engineer thinks, oh, you want feedback. And you want, like, facts and stuff, right? Because that's what feedback would be like.
He's not that great a quarterback. I mean, like, if he were Tom Brady, I think that he would, you know, be getting a contract.
I'd say that you can pick your level of competition in life to some degree. Okay, so let's say you pick a level of competition where you're always winning. It's like, well, all that means is you've picked the wrong level of competition.
Yes.
Because, you know, like, let's say you're a grandmaster chess player and all you do is play amateurs, and every night you go home and congratulate yourself on what a genius you are because you just stomp these people left, right, and center. It's like, you're not a genius. You're a dimwit.
Literally just run around on the streets, hoping that one day I will be hunted down by the rioters so I don't have to go deal with my children screaming at me. But yeah, that's the goal. It shouldn't be accidental. That's the thing. LA. I mean, I've lived in LA my whole life. And the move from LA being a pretty safe, fairly nice city, suburban in orientation, to just overrun with horror shows is really, it was a lot faster than I thought it would be. But it's sort of, you're right, it's a gradual decline and then it's just off a cliff.
It's something like that. Yeah. And it's partly because we're social animals, right? It's like we're evolved to be useful to the people around us because they're much more likely to let us live if we're like that.
Yes.
So, and it's been very fun especially talking to young men about this. It's like, well, and that's the other thing too, is I think the world is full of darkness, let's say. And we could say each of us have a little bit of light. And if we release that light, if we let it shine properly, Christ, it's too cliched to go on with in some sense, but the world is a lesser place if you do not reveal from within yourself what you have to reveal.
My dad had when I was, looking to get married, my dad said the way that you get married is it's not that you find a girl and then you decide to get married. You decide to get married and then you find a girl. Well,
there's evil in the world of all sorts, and some of it's the evil in other people, and some of it's the evil in your brother's heart. But the part of it that you can really do something about, that's the malevolence in your own heart.
And as it turns out, beating a dead horse is actually kind of tough, right? He's like, because he's not threatening. He's fundamentally non-threatening. You look at Biden and do you feel threatened by Biden? I don't feel threatened by Biden. The man's not alive. You can't threaten me with a corpse.
Those are indisputable realities. And then a motive being that integrates the sorts of things that you were talking about, these underlying needs, with everyone else's, and like doing that voluntarily. It's a call to responsibility and meaning.